Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Propcast. My name is Louisa Dickens, co-founder of LMR Re and board director of the UKPA, and I shall be your weekly host. Each week for 30 minutes, we'll be connecting the VCs, Proptech startups, and real estate professionals globally, and assist in bridging that famous communication gap we all love talking about. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Propcast. Today, we are speaking with Exec Vice President in Business and Corporate Development and Strategic Growth, Scott Sidman from Building Engines. And we'll be talking about innovative building operations and how to reduce costs through technology. So welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you, Lou. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, to give you guys all a bit of background, Scott drives strategic growth for Building Engines through mergers and acquisitions, as well as partnership development. He's also responsible for the successful integration of acquired companies. Now, in his role, Scott collaborates with all departments and customers on opportunities for the market expansion whilst enhancing product, company, and customer value. Scott has led sales, marketing, and strategy in his career at Building Engines and regularly speaks and writes about the promises of future of Cretech. Scott began his corporate career in the hospitality industry, learning about world-class customer service and management roles at the likes of Four Seasons and Intercontinental Hotels. He then embarked on a diverse entrepreneurial path that included co-founding a real estate services firm and a trade consulting business in Brazil, which he'll be talking a little bit more about later. His start in technology was leading business development for, how do you pronounce it? Is it Sedona Technologies, Scott?
It is Sedona Technologies, correct.
A company providing early hosted document and media archiving tools for consumer brands and distributors. So fairly sort of diverse sort of background experience. And I think since we've seen a lot of movement of people from Proptech into this space, and especially in the year of 2020, where a lot of people lost their jobs and now looking for, new career path. Scott, I'll chat through later how you made all these moves and what your whole experience was of it. But I'll give the audience introduction to Building Engines as well. So Building Engines is a US-born Proptech founded in 2000, which must be one of the, not quite first generation Proptech like MRI and Yardi, but definitely been around longer than a lot of the businesses which people are sort of hearing about. Now, the product improves net operating income across the world's most successful commercial real estate portfolios using their innovative building operations software platform, Prison. Now, Building Engine is developing, acquiring, and partnering to address long-standing problems in building operations. And today they have something crazy like, 850 customers, including Beacon Capital Partners, Cushman & Wakefield, Jones Lang LaSalle, and they are all relying on Building Engine to manage critical operational needs across more than 2.5 billion square feet and over 26,000 properties worldwide, which is, that's a lot of property, Scott. So, Scott, let's enough about me talking. Let's talk to the audience about how you first got into Proptech and how you got into Building Engines as well. As you must be one of the first hires. I
was one of the earlier ones, and thank you for the background. It's always interesting to listen to that and reflect back and think about the career. You don't do that too often, but as you noted, certainly a non-linear, non-traditional career path in general, but also in a Proptech. But I think it's served me well, right? And I think that the combination of experiences, different industries and working with different people has certainly served me well in this one, because commercial real estate and Proptech is just such an interesting amalgamation of segments within segments, right? And different personas and people and companies. And I think having that experience in different industries has really worked well for me. But so my path to Building Engines and Proptech actually came through one of the original co-founders of Building Engines, who I'd known for a long time, was actually an old college classmate. And that's how I knew him. And we stayed in touch through the years. And he had a previous technology startup that was hospitality focused. And as he was, building the business and starting the business and looking for people with domain expertise, he reached out to me because of my hospitality background, right, where I'd started my career, and asked me to help with that and help with positioning and go to market for the business. And that was my first entree into technology, and was pretty quickly bitten by that bug. And we ended up repositioning the business, actually a complete flip from their hospitality focus to what ended up being Sedona Technologies. And we repositioned the company and the business. And we had a small but successful exit, and that was great. And then this co-founder, obviously an idea guy, a startup guy, and had the same idea for a technology product and platform for the commercial real estate space. And when he started Building Engines, he asked me to join in because one of my other entrepreneurial paths was I owned the janitorial mechanical services firm and was selling to commercial real estate. So I had experience in the space. We were sort of a mid-sized local regional firm in the Boston area. And he asked me to come in, build a go-to-market plan for the business. I think I was the fourth or fifth employee outside of engineering at the time, the core engineering team that developed the product. Came in, was hired as a consultant, but really liked what the company was doing, and in particular, some of the people that were involved. And the next thing you know, 16 years goes by.
And here we are now on the Proptech.
Right.
That's right. So when you first started selling into real estate with not direct real estate experience, how was that like? Because everyone talks about it being a challenge now, but surely 16 years ago, that must have been even more difficult.
Oh, yeah, you can't imagine. It was really difficult. So it was... it was boots on the ground, going into the offices, meeting with people, selling, right? Old school, blocking and tackling, meeting with people and telling the story and overcoming a lot of objections. And these were, it's probably very hard for a lot of folks to imagine now, but it was back in the day where the majority of work and relationships in commercial office properties in particular was done by telephone call or stopping someone in the hallway. And there was such, real estate, think of real estate management and the history of that business and how long that's been around and the way that organizations do things. And everybody believed it was the relationship, the one-on-one direct conversation that mattered, and trying to disrupt that through the use of technology, the use of the internet was, blasphemous in many regards, right?
Yeah.
So you had to overcome those objections. But these are the days where, maintenance staff worked with clipboards and big binders of tasks and fax machines if they were lucky. And management teams call me on the phone or stop me in the hallway and we'll take care of it for you. But, there were a lot of problems with that. And there wasn't accountability, and revenue wasn't tracked appropriately, and certainly no data, right, to inform business decisions. So those are the things we set out trying to improve.
And since you joined Building Engines, your responsibilities have changed. Obviously, they've massively increased. I don't know how sort of big your team or remit is, but talk us through what your role sort of encompasses.
Sure. So you kind of talked through the early days. I initially was focused on sales and marketing, right? And sales and marketing was selling first. It was getting out there and knocking on doors, as I talked about, and leveraging some relationships and trying to hone and craft the story that would resonate with the marketplace. And from there, built out our first sales teams, took that through several iterations, and then developed a marketing program based on content and thought leadership, which was very unique and different in the early days. But we gravitated towards that. I gravitated towards that personally, as it was I thought a capital efficient way to grow, which was then a very bootstrapped business, right? And it turned out to be very effective for us. And so I I spent most of my career at Building Engines in that marketing leadership role, combined with, doing some things in terms of account management, relationship building with some of our larger customers and executing on some of our larger license agreements, that kind of thing. And I spent the previous 3 years to this role as our Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer. And then the opportunity came about to contribute to growth in a different way, and personally one that was important for me because it represented another opportunity to stretch and grow my skill set, which I always find appealing and want to do, and think people should do in general. So that was great. And that was presented in the opportunity to formalize this corporate development department where mergers and acquisitions and partnership program development are my responsibility. So it's been super interesting. We started that towards the end of last year, formalized the department role at the beginning of this year. Gives me the opportunity to build something from the ground up, which is great. Yeah. Some poetry there with the market. We certainly think about that. And to learn. So it's been really terrific.
It almost talks through the stages of how you should hire and grow a team. I often, people who listen to this podcast, some of them are, founders, some obviously late stage, some are investors, and there's always that problem where businesses are trying to suss out, right, what's the next hire I make? We're a small business. Is it sales first? Is it marketing next? When do I start putting in the accounting, the corporate team, the customer success team? You kind of you've gone through that over the past 16 years. What was your biggest takeaway or maybe lessons learned in the past 16 years? It's a big question, but off the top of your head, I feel quite a few.
That's a great question. I think it is being very cognizant of the evolutionary stage you're in and where you need to get to in the company, and the requirement of the implication of what that means for the people you need on your team. And it's hard, right? Because you have a team of people, a group of people that have taken you through this one successful stage. They may not be the right people to take you to the next stage. And you have to recognize that and make some hard decisions along the way. And I didn't learn that on myself. It was taught to me by some of the great people that we brought in, some of the, certainly some of our board members and our CEO, and you have to go through those. And we've been through several. We're probably just now in the next stage of that. We may talk about that later, but it is aligning people and skill sets with where you're at as a company and where you need to get to next.
Yeah, some people come real, they don't. It's they're big and tough decisions to make, but every business has to make them as I guess they develop. But right. Speaking of development, tell us a little bit more about how your products develop. We're talking about, how, obviously the topic is innovative building operations. Tell us a little bit more about the Prism product, Prism platform, and what your software does.
Sure. Maybe it's good to start with just a little background. It's always been in our DNA as a company to be innovative, and we had to in the early days because in addition to marketing that I talked about earlier, the product had to be unique and different, and we were competing with larger companies. We had certainly a larger direct competitor at the time, much larger, and some other ancillary competitors. So we had to use innovation as the way we would stand out, and we have a long track record of doing that, of balancing customer responsiveness, market readiness, and innovation fairly well. We made great bets on things like mobile app development, well ahead of where others were in the market. We developed the industry's first chatbot product called Benji a few years ago, way ahead of where the market was ready, but where we thought things would head to. And it was a great little project for us to get out in front and show what we were able to do and get customers in the market thinking about things like that. But about 2 years ago, we undertook a complete ground up rewrite of our platform. And, that's a hard thing for companies to do. we had a, at that point, 16-year-old product, right? 15-year-old product. And technology companies have to do that, right? You have to do that in general, but we also felt it was important to address for our customers in the market where we thought things were going, right? So we've been this core operating platform that addressed tenant service, asset and equipment maintenance, communications, and all of the data related to that. It was a proprietary platform. We had some integrations, but they were always purpose-built, and it wasn't easy. But where we felt the market was going was clearly towards the concept of interoperability. So that was the core fundamental tenet of the rewrite and the rebuild of our platform. So open systems, the ability to share data, experience, simplify things for our customers. So Prism, our new product, our new platform is built API first, right? And that's the core fundamental concept of the application. The second thing for us was enterprise scale, not only to support large customers, the largest customers at a global scale, but we felt that along with that, security, privacy, and those protections built into the platform and making a significant investment there were going to be a requirement. Prior to this, there were only a very few large customers that thought about that, where I think today every customer thinks about those things. Yeah. So we had to support that. And then time to value. Ease of use has always been an important thing for us, but more than ever, it's, customers are asking, how quickly can I get up and running? How fast can I get our people using this without a tremendous amount of training and, hand-holding? So we wanted to make that even better than ever. So that's what we undertook, and those are the changes we made.
Yeah, and you talk about, I guess, ease of use, ease of, implementation for your customers. What have you, are you seeing less challenges out there, or maybe, obviously you're seeing further adoption, as your product gets proved, you have, your client list grows, every year. What are the main challenges you're seeing in implementation at the moment?
Yeah, it's always a challenge, right? Particularly if there's change involved from other systems or processes. Change management is a key component of adoption. So we've been fortunate in that we've always had strong adoption as a mission-critical application for our customers, but we always know it can be better. We have over, I think it's 100,000 unique monthly users of the product. But we touch a lot of people in our customers' organizations and with their tenants, so it's always a challenge to do better, right, to get more people using the application. I'd say that for our customers, it's one of the things that's important is the awareness and recognition of making sure that the product and application is deployed widely. So we spend a lot of time during pre-sales with our clients, making sure we have executive level commitment. And I'd say it's not the product, it's actually the mindset of the customer that leads to adoption, right? So there is this growing commitment to digital transformation at commercial real estate companies. And if we have that at the beginning, and leadership matters, change begins at the top, all those things are very true, then for us, it makes our job easier to make sure that everything we're doing related to ease of use and simple implementations and data migrations and all of those things where we're spending time actually can have an impact and take hold. But if we don't have a commitment from the company and leadership isn't driving it, then it doesn't really matter, because people revert back to what they're most comfortable with. And that's the biggest obstacle always.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot to be said for good and powerful senior change management in these massive businesses. But I think also what they come back and say as well, it's down to, your team marrying, the technical guys and the real estate professionals to ease them into it, so everyone's sort of communicating and, then hopefully everyone's slightly happier and more at ease.
Position yourself to thrive with a 5-week course that covers the essentials of designing, developing, marketing and operating offices in 2021 and beyond. Check out the Future-Proof Office course at realinnovationacademy.com Quote LMRE for a 10% discount.
Now, you're, building engines has, been running as a startup, but, a few years ago, took private equity funding. What was the whole reason behind that? And, how has it sort of changed your business? Because you hear some horror stories of this. You hear some fantastic stories how, you can expand, globally, you get more money for headcount, operations, tech. Talk me through the reasoning behind it and how it's changed the business.
There were a few reasons for that. As we started to look at the landscape and what was happening in our business, we recognized there were a few sort of headwinds there taking place. One was that there was growing investor interest in commercial real estate technologies. They recognized that this is a giant laggard industry that could benefit from technology. So a lot of money started pouring into from venture capital in particular into technology startups. And then there was growing recognition we saw among our customers who were becoming more sophisticated about what they wanted out of platforms and out of technology companies. And we recognized that in order to execute on the vision we had for the business growth, we had to adjust to that. And in order to do so and continue our growth path, we were going to need capital and probably experienced growth stage expertise as well. So we knew it was pretty clear for us that was important for us to continue doing what we wanted to do. Also, we had early investors in the company, friends and family, and some angel investors from the early days that had been in it for quite a bit. It was important to our CEO in particular that he was able to deliver a return to them. So we started a process in 2015. We hired a banker, went through that evaluation period. Then we started to entertain the inbound interest. And for us, private equity was clearly a better fit based on the stage of a company we were at that time. And made a decision in 2016 to partner with our primary sponsor today, a company called Wavecrest Growth Partners, local Boston firm with two principals who came out of Bain and Vista Private Equity. So very experienced, accomplished, successful guys. They were small, so we thought we'd get the attention and focus we thought was important for us. They've been great partners. We get terrific guidance. You get the network benefit that they have. They're certainly tough, but fair and always willing. As a result, we've tripled in size since the investment. So it's been successful across the board.
It must be so difficult when selecting who to take investment from, but also, you must learn a lot about your business as well from whether you take, obviously, VC, is it private equity? But growing by 3 times, that's fantastic. So congrats. And I guess on that topic of growth, what further growth plans do you have for 2021?
Yeah, well, they're, as you would imagine, they're pretty aggressive, right? Particularly after coming out of this year and the impact this year had. And just like, every other company, certainly COVID and the pandemic had an impact on our forecast and growth plans. So we took a bit of a step back. We actually, overperformed against our adjusted expectations. So that's been positive. But as we head into 2021, we have a pretty aggressive growth plan and growth track. And that for us, that's accomplished in several ways. One is organic growth, certainly continuing to be really proficient and excellent at sales and marketing execution, product development, and making sure we grow in that direction. We hired a new chief sales officer in the middle of this year who's tremendously experienced and is, as we talked about earlier about evolutionary stages and what you have to do, and is working to improve and remake our sales organization. So we're doing that. So organic growth, and then aligned with my role, mergers and acquisitions. So I'm actively looking at companies that make sense for us to acquire and incorporate into our platform. And then the other key component of Prism is that, again, going back to that concept of interoperability, is we launched a partner program this fall and are developing an ecosystem of integrated partners. We have a directory on our website that showcase some of those. We also have a vendor network. We acquired a company last year that helps with bid management, RFP management for service providers. So along with that, we have a complementary network of service providers for our customers to choose from as well. So we'll continue to grow both those things out and push forward.
Very exciting. So I guess a fair amount of collaborations you already have going on. And Scott, outside of building engines, how do you sort of spend your time?
Well, these days, isolated.
Any weird hobbies or things you've picked up during this crazy time?
No, the only thing outside of making sure you take care of yourself physically and get outside and do those things as much as possible. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to manage the ski season this year, which is one of my hobbies. My wife and I have become expert mixologists, so we have a Friday night cocktail ritual where we'll try to be creative, whip something up new, or take a twist on a different recipe and share that with friends and kids and family. Kids who are older. So.
I love that. Yeah, my co-founder, he's celebrating his 30th wedding anniversary, so a bit of a age gap between the two of us. But he's like, the key to his successful marriage has been fizzy Fridays. So every Friday they make like a champagne cocktail or something together, and it's just a bit of quality time. But look, Scott, we're coming to the end of the Propcast. What's the best way for everyone to connect with you and hear more about building engines?
Certainly, yeah. For me directly, email ssidman@buildingengines.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Twitter @ScottSidman. I try to be very responsive and love engaging with people who want to talk about commercial real estate, technology, and always happy to have a conversation. And for Building Engines, buildingengines.com. A lot of information there, as you would expect, and ways to get in touch with us. And if you can't find what you're looking for there, the person you want to speak with, I can certainly help and connect you to the right folks here.
Awesome. Well, look, Scott, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Propcast today, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you after the show.
Likewise, Lou, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Propcast, and a big thanks to our special guests. Make sure you visit our website, www.nmre.co.uk, where you can subscribe to our show, or you'll find us on iTunes and Spotify, where all good content is found. Whilst you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate if you could rate and review us on iTunes, or if you simply just spread the word. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday, and I'll catch you later.
Hi, this is Nelson from Property Quants. I'd like to invite you to join our Introduction to Data Science and Machine Learning for Real Estate seminar. To learn more, visit propertyquants.com/seminar and use special code LMRE20 on Eventbrite for a discount.
You're listening to a podcast company podcast. This was made by Podcast Syndicator, where we help you go from start to grow to making money with your podcast. Let us help you share your message and your voice with the world. Reach out now, Jason at podcastsyndicator.com or Brett at podcastsyndicator.com to find out more. Thank you for listening, and do come back to hear nothing but the best podcasts.